In 2012, UNICEF, together with Save the Children and the UN Global Compact, developed the Children's Rights and Business Principles, which call on businesses to put in place appropriate policies and processes, as set out in the UN Guiding Principles on Business and Human Rights. They recognize the tremendous positive power of all corporates, regardless of their size, sector, location, ownership, and structure, and seek to promote the best business practices for children. In 2019, UNICEF and Sustainalytics released investor guidance on integrating children's rights into investment decision-making. This tool shows how investors can assess the impact of their investments on child rights and understand how child rights can be better integrated into their investment analysis and decision-making.
Children make up almost 1/3 of the world's population and interplay with businesses as employees, family members, and consumers. In UNICEF, we believe that investors can play a critical role in shaping and influencing corporate decisions related to children's rights. But if you look at the current investors' landscape, children and adolescents have little prominence on the agenda. Apart from the common concern regarding child labor, overall attention to children's rights have remained low. However, the policy of incorporating children's rights into business policies, processes, and decision-making are enormous, and they can create shareholder value. Products and services that better meet parents' and children's needs can open new markets for companies like digital technology, which is allowing children all around the world to have access to remote education. The promotion of youth employment programs and scholarships can also create a skilled workforce and contribute positively towards corporate reputational capital. From a risk perspective too, corporate actions that undermine children's rights by definition are unsustainable, posing a range of legal, operational, and reputational risks. As we have seen in multiple studies, consumers are also tailoring their investments more and more according to their values. They want to invest in the things that they believe in. COVID-19 has exposed many vulnerabilities for children and their families, especially when it comes to mental health and remote learning. Companies are critical in implementing family-based policies that allow families to have more time with their children. Companies are also really important in bringing innovation to our new normal and creating the products that meet our current needs. Companies create jobs and prevent millions of children and their families from falling into poverty. UNICEF has been working with companies for decades now to improve children's lives. Let's continue working together, innovating together to make sure that every child can fulfill his potential. Now let's hear from some of our partners in the private sector to see how you can help. Thank you.
Data and disclosure play a huge role in addressing and enhancing business impacts on children's rights. They create accountability and improve understanding, which are the key factors behind achieving change. Without transparency, it's hard for investors or other stakeholders to know how companies perceive their child-related risks, impacts, and opportunities, let alone how they are managing and succeeding on the related work. I should note that reporting is not just about identifying gaps, but it's also important for best practice examples to be shared and cascaded across companies and sectors. For maximum impact and usefulness, it'd be good for disclosure to be consistent and comparable across companies, but I think we have some way to go before we reach that point when it comes to children's rights. Part of the problem there is that standardized indicators on this topic are not comprehensive or widely in use yet. This is a bit of a chicken and egg question because metrics are not widely available, partly because there hasn't been a super strong and consistent demand for it yet. This is something where all parties could contribute to creating that demand for better disclosure, and both investors and companies also have the opportunity to lead by example. Investors could contribute to this by highlighting to companies and research providers as well their interest in child-related data. This could underline the importance of business relevance of this topic and could also have a positive impact of helping encourage companies to integrate related considerations in their strategy and operations, which in turn could help generate real-world positive impacts or reduce the negative ones. I should also note that disclosure is not just about investee companies, but investors themselves could also look at their own ESG reporting and disclosure and consider whether there might be additional that they could do or would like to do to communicate their efforts and impacts connected to children's rights.
Develop an awareness and understanding of how children's rights intersect with business, so you can integrate children's rights into your financial analysis. Take active ownership. Engagement and advocacy are powerful tools, so discuss children's rights with potential investees and portfolio companies. Collaborate with your peers by discussing why children's rights are relevant to investments. Remember, there is power in numbers.
Zagreb Stock Exchange has just recently started or issued the totally new corporate governance code that was done in collaboration with international experts. And we have included into this corporate governance code a number of totally new topics. Companies need to report every year if they are complying with this, or if they are not, how they plan to make it better in the coming years. So investors have ability to judge not only performance of the companies, not only in their numbers, but also in these soft factors, which are actually telling them about the quality of the company in terms of business responsibility towards the society. Somebody we want to collaborate with the best, and UNICEF has really a very strong reputation in this area, and we were very happy to be approached by UNICEF professionals here in Croatia.
Our motivation for launching Raiffeisen Sustainable Mix Fund in Croatia was the fact that the world is constantly changing and we are facing major challenges. Thoughtfulness for people, for the environment, and responsible use of resources is important more than ever. The performance of ESG issues of the selected companies is very important as any performance in any investments. Our main objective is to deliver to the clients similar performance as we deliver with traditional funds, but also by adding the ESG impact and ESG value to the whole investment. Track record from our colleagues from Vienna is showing that there are no disadvantages in this product comparing to the traditional funds. So as we said, those products, besides having this financial component and financial performance, are also offering ESG performance, which is added value to the whole investment. Okay, finally, last but not least, is the fact that we are bringing very positive topic to the sales process, and that people feel very good about investments in sustainable products. And I'm also proud to mention that our investments have 43% less CO2 emission, 91% less waste, and 78% less water consumption.
Stock exchanges around the world have a tremendous amount of influence in their marketplace. They sit at the intersection between investors, companies, and security market regulators. And while stock exchanges are not all powerful to change things in the market, because they sit at this intersection, they are important players in convening a conversation among these different stakeholders. Based on current trends and the growth of mandatory sustainability reporting, we expect by 2030, at the time that we're looking to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, that sustainability reporting, or ESG disclosure, will be mandatory and commonplace throughout the world. Once we've developed guidance and even listing requirements in some markets as a basis for what is expected of exchanges, the critical factor is training to ensure implementation, delivery of these goals around sustainable development. And this training typically covers a full range of sustainability factors in the environmental space, in the social space, and in corporate governance. If you go back about 10 years ago, the number of stock exchanges providing training on ESG, disclosure, and performance would have been about 5 exchanges. Today, that number is over 56 exchanges worldwide. It's become a very common practice. And this also involves bringing sometimes in experts from civil society to go into deep dives on environmental issues and on social issues, and in the social space, looking at labor practices and human rights issues. And this can relate to family practices, the performance of the firm in that sense, in the sense of its family friendliness, as well as labor practices that affect the rights of children.
Across different topics and industries, and with a focus on the links to programmatic result areas, UNICEF generates expertise and evidence of impacts on children by business activities, and provides a wealth of resources, guidance, and tools for companies, governments, and other business stakeholders on how to develop and implement policies and practices that consider children's rights. Thank you for watching.